So here's today's quick update and what I've been doing today. I'm in a different garage. I'm actually at S-CARS South. I'm in North Iowa at the moment. And I am working on, not that, I'm working on this nightmare of a car. So the fun I'm having, yesterday I did plugs and coils on the 40T, which you can see how nicely packaged they are. They're buried under this. This is the easy side. You take out the air box and then take off the coil cover and you have relatively decent access. This side is miserable. I actually ended up taking this out, draining coolant, and just getting around all of this stuff to get this front coil is miserable. These are actually just the electrical loom, aka the 2013 Audi S6 40T. And so I've been doing spark plugs and coils in this car today in 90-degree heat. Doing the passenger side, I know it looks like a complete nightmare. They're down in here, but it's actually not that bad. You take this cover off, take two screws that hold the airbox in, take these off, pull the airbox out, and then you just basically have to loosen all these little clips, these little gray clips. You have to pry them out and then push them and pull those connectors off. Those are your solenoids for like the cylinder deactivation and whatnot. But you get all those out, undo the coils. There's like a T25, I think, that's on the coil. Hold those in. This side's pretty easy. The driver's side, on the other hand, is a complete nightmare. I actually wound up taking the coolant reservoir out. It wound up being far easier to do that. When it was in place, it was just fighting me too much, and I really needed to get access underneath here, so I'm gonna have to refill some of that. But the biggest frustration, and hey Audi, pull your heads out of your backsides on this, these plastic coolant pipes. They are, I mean, this car is a 2013 with 75 on it, somewhere around there. They are super brittle. This one actually I took off per the book and it came off nice and easy, but you can see there's nothing in there. It broke off. So it actually broke off in the reservoir, and luckily I was able to pull it out of there. But I need this pipe and I need this pipe. And of course they price them rather ridiculously because they're engineered to be disposable and they can just make a bunch of money selling these things over and over again, I'm sure. And today's task, see how low that's sitting? Give you a hint. I hate air suspension with a passion. It's freaking garbage. Bags are for groceries. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my little rant video. I realized I didn't really make this as a how-to video, but just a little pointer. If you're doing the plugs and coils, the passenger side is the easy side. Take off that front cover. There's two screws that hold the front of the airbox air intake plenum in. Again, then just unhook the two little rubber bellow connectors at the airbox. And then that whole, I just lift the whole thing out as a complete unit. From there, it's down to getting that plastic wiring harness loom loose enough that you can basically work around it. You can't get that thing out of there. You're on both sides. You're just gonna have to work around it. And those little gray plastic clips that hold those solenoid sensors in, they are quite a pain to deal with. And so a little pick tool and a fingernail is your friend if you can get them to pop back, so pop them towards you. And then to release, you just squeeze them against the plug and pull the plug out. And it should come out nice and easy at that point. But as we've seen with other things that are made of plastic in a high temperature engine bay, cooling system parts, they often don't last well. And so they'll break. In fact, a number of mine were actually already broken by a previous dealership that had worked on the car. So that was a challenge. But once you get all those loose, yeah, take pictures before you go into it, obviously, so you know where everything goes. But the passenger side is easy. As for the driver's side, that, like I said, I tried to work around the coolant tank initially, save yourself the headache, just empty it out, remove it. And hopefully, like I said, I was really careful while removing mine, and I still had both of those plastic pipes break, so you might want to pre-order those and just have them on hand as a replacement. And when you disconnect them further down the line, you know, so it goes from the tank to another section of hardline on those, shoot a little bit of silicone spray into the connector before you start to try to disconnect it. And I actually had a friend of mine help me. He was very gently wiggling that line, and then I got in there with a really fine pick and helped sort of pry it apart. So in doing that, especially where they join together, you prevent breaking the line further down, which you absolutely don't want to do. The one going to the radiator off the front of the tank might not be so horrible to replace, but if you look at where the other one goes, it goes down into the engine and the front, and I mean, it looks like an absolute nightmare to replace. So avoid that one at all costs. Start with the front radiator one and learn the ropes, and then tackle the scary one and take your time. Do not break those lines. Yeah, anyhow, and to finally sum it up, you saw me doing the air suspension on the car. That job was surprisingly simple to at least remove and install. And I had actually disconnected the battery from the car, then jacked it up, removed the wheel, removed the old airbag. And to do so, it's literally just a connector that's the airline connector at the top. So I just opened it, let it bleed out slowly. And then at the bottom of where the bag sits on the perch, there's a little metal clip. So you have like 3 fingers. It'll make sense when you look at it, but it basically sits in the bottom perch. And there's just a little metal ring that you can loosen the 3 clips, pull that metal retaining ring out, and then your setup should be loose basically. So once the airline is removed and off, you can compress it down. So you basically just push the airbag down on itself. And then I just, you know, some people or some videos you'll see where you remove that crossbar that sits, you know, so on the S6 there's a brake caliper, and then below that there's a crossbar that runs, looks like it blocks your access to the lower airbag. Not actually an issue. I just had a big pry bar, had someone with a pry bar underneath, kind of near the top of the air spring mount, and then across the top of the suspension, you know, over the brake rotor there. Just push down with the pry bar, and then I was able to sneak the old bag out, no problem. Same thing with the new one, just compress it a little bit, sneak it back in, make sure the top point aligns into the hole, get the bottom, I put an R-knot bag in, so the bottom one just fits in, and there's a pin with a rock shield. So you have to get the rock shield in place so that the little plastic orientation pin goes in the right spot. And then that pin goes into this lower perch as well. So it's kind of a foolproof way, and you just put it all together. The R-knot spring actually has you remove the little airline fitting from the factory. There's like a little clasp that you're gonna remove and then pull the fitting off. And then that new line just pushes into the new R-knot bag, which seems suspect to me. Like, it seems like it would leak, but, and maybe that's the issue. But right now I do have the bag back in the car. I had to actually leave town, so the car is still sitting down there. And currently it has inflated a bit in the rear, but the car is not sitting level. So I think I'm gonna have to go through the VCDS leveling procedure in order to get everything to play nicely with one another. But I may have to remote in and do that at some other point here, since I'm a couple hours away from where that car is. But yeah, for the most part, that was a very, very easy job up until the point where the car wouldn't re-level itself and things. And what prompted the replacement in the first place was every 3 days or so, that passenger rear corner would sink. And so figured, well, it's more than likely a leak in the bag. And I did kind of, when I was in there, I was spraying it with some soapy water in the lines and didn't really see anything there. And You know, I've been around the L-Road block as a service manager years ago, and yeah, I hate air. I hate air. I hate air. Air sucks. It's garbage. Don't do it. Coilovers, yes. Rusted coils, yeah, they break occasionally, but it's not thousands of dollars like the stupid air suspensions. I despise them. Every single vehicle manufacturer, and this is another rant, I'm sorry, but from Lincoln to Land Rover to Mercedes to Audi to anything, they become German pancakes. I mean, they suck, they all fail. You end up with a, slammed car, looks like an elephant sat on it. I just hate air. I will never, ever, I don't understand why people think air is so cool. Oh, I can air it out and sit on the ground. And I'm like, okay. I'll keep my coil springs, thanks. Anyhow, sorry for the rant. I still hate air with a passion. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.